Agree.
And I think that all goes into it, not just the handle.
Let me move on. Let's just talk about the New York Rangers a little bit. I said this to you off the air, and I'm not happy. I think the Rangers are a very good, dangerous hockey team, and other teams should be aware. But I've learned I don't think they're very diverse, and I preach that hockey diversity wins championships, and I truly and totally believe that. Unless you just happen to be so fortunate that you have just a ridiculous amount of skill. But there's no Red Army teams out there. Let's face it.
No, there's no world beaters this year.
No, there's no world beaters this year. Even your Chicago Blackhawks, which probably had the best chance, and the biggest surprise was the Predators, who the Rangers handled last night. The Rangers can beat any team in the league. That doesn't mean they can beat any team in the league in a 7-game series. The biggest concern that I have with the New York Rangers is by getting Keith Yandle, a team that already scores a lot of goals, right? Mm-hmm. It's obvious that the Ranger management thought we need even more offensive threat. This does not address the underreported issues. The Rangers have been pushed around at times by teams like the New York Islanders that have grit. This does not address or even confirms the fact that they think they can win the Stanley Cup with inefficient face-off men. Now, I understand why they didn't get rid of their centers, because they love them, and they are great, and they are a part of this extremely fast-skating, fast-striking, high-scoring team that makes them such a threat. But here's the thing, folks, and I have a very disappointing news for you Ranger fans, and they're not going to win the Stanley Cup because these are gaping holes in a 7-game series that aren't as a big deal over a long period of time. If you lose 4 in a row, you're out. If you can limit this, if the coach can figure out a way to limit your speed, you're out. If you can't win key face-offs on power plays to come back from 2-1 leads, you're out. So the Rangers have pretty went ahead and said, we don't need that stuff. I think that is an unbelievable move. It shows the nearsightedness and the continued failures of Glenn Slater, and I'm calling this right now. The Rangers will be a second-round exit because they haven't addressed these very important issues.
Wow. I don't see that happening. I see them at least making it to the conference finals. Mm-hmm. I think based off of how they've gotten, I know that the playoffs are a different season. I get that completely. Mm-hmm. But I feel that they're matching up with, especially with the lower seeded teams in the East. I don't think there's anyone in the East that's going to be able to take them in a 7-game series. I just really don't at this point. They have time to fix some of these deficiencies that we're talking about here.
Sure.
But to speak on the Yandle thing for a second.
No, they don't. No, I have to stop you there. And I'm sorry. They don't have time. They had time yesterday. The time has passed. The face-off men are going to be the face-off men through this. And that is huge. They can't fix the grit thing because that's the personality of the team. The only guy
not the grit thing, but I'm thinking the face-off thing can be fixed.
I don't know that. I hope you're right. I mean, maybe that can be fixed. But I don't understand. They've played, 60 games so far? What magic's going to happen between now and then? I
mean, you never know.
I'm not trying to be a dick, No.
No.
Yeah, I think I've seen this too many times before. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other teams in the Eastern Conference. Now, the Rangers are first overall. Actually, they're tied with the Islanders. They have slightly more wins than the Islanders.
They played 2 less games, too.
Pittsburgh, let's look at Pittsburgh Penguins. First of all, they won the last 4. They have Sidney Crosby. They have Evgeny Malkin. These guys are getting ready for a playoff push. Yes, the Pittsburgh Penguins find a way to collapse. But there's really no reason the Pittsburgh Penguins shouldn't beat every damn team in the hockey every year. But because of the leadership issues that we've noticed and their ability to kind of collapse in big games, I think the Rangers would have to actually hope for that type of mental collapse to win. And maybe it'll happen.
I think that this year is a year where they're going to be able to outspeed them. I think that they're a team like Pittsburgh, a team that if you get them on their heels, you can beat them consistently. I think the Rangers are a bad matchup this year for Pittsburgh because of their speed. I think Pittsburgh's not the team to be looking at for that reason.
Counterpoint. I think that's a very good argument. I think we both made very good arguments. Let's go to another team. Team. The New York Islanders, probably the biggest threat to them. I agree. The biggest threat to them in the Eastern Conference. The Islanders have grit, they have speed, they have smarts, they have strength. They don't have experience. Yeah. And I think that's the best thing that the Rangers have. And believe me, I do think it slants it in their direction in a long series. Where I think the problem the Rangers will run into is it'll be a media circus. inside of New York when these two teams get together, if they were to get together in any part of the round. This will be a 7-game series. There is no doubt in my mind. And I do see the Rangers not being able to overcome a situation like that.
Well, the Achilles for the Islanders is real simple. They're 22nd right now against goals against, and they don't kill the penalty. They're worst in the league. They're 30th.
That's their That's their point.
Those are two really big things. If you cannot keep the puck out of the net and you cannot kill the penalty, you are not going far in the playoffs. And honestly, those numbers scare me and could be a first-round exit for the Islanders if they don't fix that.
Let's go to the Tampa Bay Lightning, potential matchup for the New York Rangers. The Tampa Bay Lightning obviously have one of the best players in the league. They've been consistent all season. Again, this is a similar situation. There's not a tremendous amount of grit, but when you do have guys like Ryan Callahan that can hit. This is a very close team right now. They're ready to go. 82 points, 38 wins, 20 losses. This is a very dangerous hockey team. I think the only edge the Rangers have over the Tampa Bay Lightning is the experience factor of going to the Stanley Cup final. I fear a possible explosion by one Steve Stamkos could make the difference in the series.
Absolutely. This is the one team I'm going to 100% agree with you on, because they put that fucking puck away. The best in the league at doing it, and in the playoffs, you gotta score goals, man. You gotta do it. You gotta score goals, and this is what this team does. Scary, scary team.
Let's go to teams that I'm maybe a little less afraid of in the Eastern Conference and potential matchups. Of course, the Montreal Canadiens, although this is the team that I'm most afraid of and the less afraid of category. They're certainly first place. They're 41-17. 41-17-5, 87 points. They more than likely will hang in there and win the division. I think the only thing I'm going on is Montreal has holes that are exploitable, and if they did not fix what they look like a conditioning issue at the end of the season with their defense, I don't think they can beat the Rangers. I think the Rangers are clearly a better team than them, but there is always the Carey Price factor.
Sure.
But I don't really see the improvements so much over last year that I should be so terrified. That being said, the Montreal Canadiens could beat the Rangers in a 7-game series. It would probably go at least 6, maybe 7.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. But what I'm also looking at here is I think you're 100% right on the conditioning factor, and the fact that the Rangers are so fast and athletic, and they're able to get up and down the friggin' ice. It's going to wear Montreal out, and they're not going to be able to have the gas tank to go far. The other problem is this is not an elite goal-scoring team. They're 21st in the league in scoring goals. This is not a scary team, and you have to be able to bury it. Now, they are the best in the league at stopping the puck from going in, so it'd be a very interesting series. But I think the athleticism and the speed the Rangers have would be enough to propel them past Montreal.
This is why I'm the least faded them. I don't think they have the type. I don't think they have a good enough coach, and I don't think they have a good enough defense to stop that speed. I could be wrong. Terrion can come up with a system to limit them and frustrate them. If you can limit them and frustrate them, you can beat them. It's been showed. And if I was Montreal, I would be a pest to the Rangers. Be a pest, be pests. Show your inner Shaw and Avery. And I think that'd be a good way. Let's go to the last two teams that are potential matchups. And, of course, Florida's a potential matchup, and early on Philadelphia, Ottawa. But these are teams that I don't find to be a threat at all. Sorry. Pat in South Jersey. Detroit. I'm going to do the two ones that I'm not scared of at all. Detroit, obviously, I'm a little more scared of Boston because their skill, but I think this team is past its time by. I don't think we're going to see Mike Babcock there. I do think the Rangers can beat them. The Rangers have handled them in the regular season, although that's not always a good indicator. I do think they can beat them. The problem with Detroit is if they just simply decide to wake up. Much of this case with the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins, I think their time's passed them by. There's confusing issues with what identity they are, what they're going with. Moves have been made that are not that great. Tuukka Rask has not been as good as he's been in past years. I don't even think it's all his fault. I totally blame upper management. I think the Boston Bruins are a great team, but I think now the Rangers have obviously surpassed them. Here's a team that probably scares me as much as Montreal, and it is the one team that I definitely think we're going to see is the Washington Capitals.
That's
of course,
the team.
goes without saying that Ovechkin, but it does appear that Ovechkin has found his groove, and not only found his groove, found his belief in his leader, which is what has been reportedly always missing with his team, that he didn't believe in the person that was coaching him, which is Ovi's fault. Nobody else's. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. For whatever reason, Barry Trotz, who is kind of a big, gruff, intimidating-looking guy and has been in this business a very long time. I think he was the only coach that the Predators have ever known over there. And he almost Buck Showalters his way out of the Predators, before they maybe go on to be one of the more elite teams in the future. If you remember, Buck Showalter left to Torre, and Joe Torre got all the credit for the next 15 years. That's exactly what happened, and I wonder if this is a similar situation. Buck Showalter built the Yankees. A lot of people don't know this, and I wonder if this is a similar situation with Barry Trotz. And if this guy with this talent and this team and the addition of Brooks Orpik, which we said was going to be huge, Matt Niskanen, which we said was going to be huge, and it took a little while, and they had their down spot, but this team has been collectively winning all year, 34-20. I think that would be absolutely a bruising series for the New York Rangers, and I would not want to catch them early.
It is your worst matchup. This is your nightmare matchup. This is the team you do not want to see in the first round.
And we'll probably see them in the second, and that's why this was what fits into my theory altogether.